Hey, everybody, welcome on back. It's the Rubbin Racing Podcast with Spider and Large. We got Quigs in the motherfucking house, Moonhead at a remote location, and Jacob behind the ones and twos. Let's go. Body Armor. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Sports Drink. This summer, cool off with Body Armor Chill. I have it in my hand right now. A bold new way to hydrate with no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners. Enjoy a new refreshing cooling sensation in 3 impossibly cold flavors: frozen berry, frozen cherry, and frozen orange. It's available for a limited time. Grab yours at 7-Eleven or a store near you, especially with the goddamn heat wave. Are you guys that hot out in Chicago too?
Yeah, today's not as bad, but it has been super hot.
Yeah, people are going down like flies over here. So get yourself some Body Armor sports drink, Body Armor Chill in particular, and take care of yourself. And also, Blue Chew. Guys, enter the room dick first. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet. It's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. This isn't a supplement. It's an erection resurrection. Guys, this isn't just about performance. It's about legacy or third legacy. Give her a group chat something to talk about. You know, when you lay it down, they're talking about how it goes up. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code Rubbin at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to bluechew.com for details and safety info. And big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. Blue Chew's wilding out in these reads, aren't they? I love it.
They're good, though.
I feel like I wrote them. Like,
I think you might have wrote that.
I'm right in line with some of that shit. The resurrection of your erection or something. Fucking fantastic. All right, guys, welcome back. We got an interview with Joey Logano, 3-time Cup Series champion, coming up in just a second. It's a long one. Came in and he was ready to talk, but let's talk about what just happened last week. Connor Zilic gets his first win on an oval with Junior as his crew chief, and Kyle Busch shit all over it. It's all publicity. He's just going to be a warm body sitting up on top of the box. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, when I saw it, obviously we tend to be Team Dale Jr. here at this podcast because he's been so good to us, and I just like the fucking guy. But what about Kyle kind of pulling a fucking blanket off of this whole myth that that Dale actually won that from the pit box? Is that a dick move? Is it something that people should know? How do you feel about what Kyle just did?
I just feel confused. I saw this quote and I was like, why is he even like speaking on that? And this was before the race, if I'm not mistaken. I'm personally happy for Dale Jr. I think it's cool. Obviously, you know, it's just one other notch in his belt, and to see him involved in the sport, whether it be team ownership or something like this, still, I think is not to be taken for granted. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought it was a cool moment. It's a cool storyline to watch on Saturday. And I actually placed a bet on Zilic last minute, so it worked out. I felt like Chase Elliott, who I originally had on my card, was the guy to beat this week, and then some drama happened in that race, and Zilic ended up pulling it out. So very content with that race, and I'm happy for Dale Jr. Fuck Kyle Busch. Just kidding. I actually love Kyle Busch, but when it comes to this circumstance, I'm Team Dale Jr.
Yeah, I think Chase had the quickest car, fastest car. But I'm very happy for Connor and Dale as well. I don't think you should pull back on the fuck Kyle Busch for this one, because every now and again, people, no matter how much you like them, say stupid shit. Fuck him in this case. Go ahead, Quigs. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I just think having any other opinion than like, oh, this is sick that Dale is the crew chief for this race is crazy. It's just an Xfinity race. Like, I don't know how you could, like, whether or not you think he's doing 100% of what a normal crew chief does or whatever. Like, it's a cool last minute change. I just don't know how you would be upset by it.
And if you're going to pull the wool off of this idea that crew chief suspensions are bullshit because it just moves the crew chiefs into some sort of war room, won't NASCAR catch on to that and then take the crew chief and put him in a fucking lockbox all Saturday and Sunday? Like, I don't know where the benefit of doing this except to be a dick, right? I think when he decided to say this, I think he set out to be a dick, and it landed. Moon, am I crazy with this? Is this something that's widely known that crew chief suspensions are bullshit anyway? Or is he like revealing something that people otherwise, the casuals, otherwise wouldn't know?
I mean, I think by now it's kind of well known that that's the case. And I think Kyle just came off as a dick because he had another interview last night after he won that Legends car race, and they asked him again, and he clarified that when he said that, he was looking at it as if KBM was still a thing, and one of his crew chiefs got suspended, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm already there. I'll crew chief." But he said he wouldn't be making any of the calls. He'd be getting, everything fed to him. And he even acknowledged that he felt like Dale was way more involved than even he thought he would be. So I think Kyle's just kind of blunt and kind of naturally an asshole. So I don't think he meant to discredit anything Dale was doing. I think he just looked at it as if he was in the same situation, that he wouldn't be useful up there. But Dale seemed to take it pretty serious. And I think he brought Steve Letarte with him or something too. So he meant business.
Yeah. And do you think, as far as where Kyle is now reputation wise, because during the intros this week at Pocono, I was paying attention. I thought the loudest boos were for this week's guest, Joey Logano. I thought they trumped the boos that Denny Hamlin got. Kyle didn't get them. Like, he sort of took the black hat, whether he wants to or not, and threw it away. So he's kind of loved. There are no more boos when they introduce him. I don't know if it's one of those things where he misses it. So the easiest way to get people to boo you right now is probably to shit on Dale. So I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things where he just wants to wear the black hat again. But either way, I thought it was kind of a dick move. I was at Pocono this weekend. Drove out there early on Sunday. I took just my 15-year-old daughter and my 18-year-old wife, and we drove out there early Saturday morning because traffic can be tough. I live in northern New Jersey, so Pocono for me is probably about an hour and 20 minutes, but there's that one road that goes in and out. And so it turned into maybe a 2.5-hour drive. Still not that bad. But once we got there, and again, we got there very early because I had a bunch of things. I was going to see people down at the haulers and all that kind of shit. We get there. My wife and daughter have their credentials. Shout out Pocono, by the way, for giving us all this kind of access. But they say, nobody's coming in. Take shelter in your car. And that's the whole thing too. Like, my 15-year-old daughter is like, "Dad, what does take shelter mean?" And I realized that, we just bombed Iran. Like, she's wondering like what we're taking shelter for. Yeah, it's not overly bright maybe. But I was like, no, it's just for whatever. And there was lightning going on. And so we were probably in our car for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours-ish before we were let in. And then they skipped the driver's meeting. They kind of got things going so they could get the race in because, they could have, I think if the rain stopped by 3, they were able to get the track dry by 5, which was able to get them enough time to complete the full race before sundown at 8:40. So it was kind of a Chinese fire drill, as every NASCAR event tends to be on days of rain. But they did get in there. They got the race off. No harm, no foul. But people say it's very good that they had people shelter in place or whatever in their cars, because back in 2012, somebody had got struck by lightning and died at Pocono. So they say if you do let people in these giant metal bleachers, they won't leave. Even if you tell them there's lightning in the area, people will be like, nah, it'll never happen to me. So they won't leave. So you have to have people, out in their car or in some sort of shelter. And the only reason that doesn't hold a ton of water is the poor gentleman who died in 2012 died in the parking lot, like where they asked me and Bridget to go and take shelter. So I didn't mention that part to her. But the guy was standing outside of his car and unfortunately got hit by lightning and was killed. So there's a lot of shit that people don't take into consideration when they're being put out for a couple of hours due to inclement weather and all that kind of stuff. But I'm very, very happy that we got to see a race, and I'm very, very happy that I'm still alive. Bumped into a bunch of people at the track. That guy Fitzmagic, was talking to him for a while. Friend of the show. Then that gigantic guy
Andrew Whitworth.
Yeah, what a handsome guy. Just like tall, bald, white beard. Just I really like his fucking look. And so when Noah Gragson passed by to talk to me and Wentworth, he was like, "What, did you fucking ditch your son for your twin?" Because everyone was asking for you, Spider, just so you know. Everybody who I met, hey, where's Spider? All that kind of stuff. So everyone sends their regards. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew we had a great day at Pocono. We're up there in a suite with the people from visit PA and the governor's office and stuff like that, and treated again first class. I like the way that it's set up between the pits garages and the haulers garages and pit row. Everything, and it's very, very easy to get from the infield out to the grandstand at that track. So if you haven't been to Long Pond, give it a whirl one of these years, but just give yourself some extra time
I gotta
because
get there.
traffic is crazy sometimes in and around there, especially in the rain. What did you guys think of the race? It got shit on by that Gluck poll, which seems to be getting more and more diluted with non-NASCAR people every fucking week. I think it got like under 50. I thought I saw it the last check. It was like 48% said it was a good race. How do you guys feel about the race? I wasn't able to, watch the broadcast again because I was there. How did you feel about Amazon's last hurrah, at least for this season? Give me your feelings on the race that we just experienced.
I thought they did a good job. I mean, I would probably not rank it a 50, like, I think more than 50%. I disagree with the results of the poll. However, I do think this was probably one of the harder assignments that Prime had. A lot of the other races just seemed, you had a crown jewel in there, you had an international race. So there was a lot of other storylines going along with the race itself. This race was probably one of the less exciting ones we've saw during the Prime coverage, but overall I thought they did a good job. As you said, they had some of their other staff members there, their NFL crew was there, so I thought they did a good job with the race and like what kind of the ingredients that they had. And I was pretty impressed with not impressed, but entertained with the race throughout. Seeing if Denny could get by Chase Briscoe, and obviously I gave out Denny Hamlin as my winner this week, so was a little disappointed that he wasn't unable to do it, but Chase Briscoe's one guy I'm content losing to. I love Chase. I'm happy for him. Awesome to see him get his first win for Joe Gibbs, and just a tough weekend overall. I also had Tommy Fleetwood, so your boy finished P2 in just about everything aside from Xfinity race. So overall, I was entertained.
I'd put it, and not even it being that bad, but I would say it was number 5 on the list of Amazon's races.
Okay.
And I don't know, just not a ton of passing, nothing crazy exciting. And like I think that poll is a byproduct of whoever wins, if it's not one of those top names, will always ding some points off. Rain delays will always kind of take a little bit of the air out of people's sails, wind out of people's sails, whatever the saying is. And yeah, it was nothing to write home about, but it was an entertaining race.
Did you think it would get a little juice though, even though Chase Briscoe, who isn't, on the Rushmore of drivers currently, because he beat Denny Hamlin? Like I thought it would get a little more juice. Like Chase Briscoe beat Denny Hamlin's favorite driver, like that type of shit. I thought that might have did it, but it didn't seem to. What would you give it on a scale of that Gluck poll 1 to 100?
I'd go I was gonna say 60. I don't know if that's too high for. I'd go 55.
Okay. So well, Moon, what did you give it? 1 to 100?
I think it was a fair. I think it was a fair score. I would be somewhere around the 45 to 50. I think if it had been on Fox, it probably would have scored lower. Like I think Prime did a really good job of finding what little excitement there was, or even, at the end when Briscoe was fuel saving, Denny and them couldn't pass him because of dirty air, and they were making that exciting, which is something that, typically I'd be sitting there mad about. So I think honestly Prime saved it, but I agree with Quigs. It was definitely the worst race out of the Prime stretch, but they can't control that.
Spider, we're barely getting out of the 50s with these other two idiots with their thing. What are you on a scale of 1 to 100? I was somewhere in the mid 60s.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say 65. I think, I don't mean to be too critical, but I think that, like they said, it was probably one of the harder assignments for Amazon, and I thought they still did a good job despite that. So I think 65 is fair.
Okay. Like an aero race, like you said, clean air prevailing. There were people that were saying there was a conspiracy theory that Denny Hamlin was letting a Joe Gibbs teammate win. That's fucking As
Who's
far as the
saying that?
Spidey scoops, I couldn't give less than a fucking F to that
Yeah.
type of thing. But, maybe I have a good taste in my mouth because I'm an asshole and I was there. And also to see Chase win, to your point, Spider, legitimately one of the nicer guys in the fucking Cup Series right now, if not the nicest, right?
Yeah.
So you can't be unhappy for him. At one point, you had Hocevar behind Ricky. I think they were P3, P4 at the time. And I don't know how the broadcast had put it, but the people up in the box with me were like, man, Hocevar must be shitting his pants right now. It seemed like he was treating him with kid gloves. And I don't, is that how it came off on TV? Did they make a big deal out of that at all?
They definitely made us aware, but at the same time, I was kind of like left expecting more. I felt like we were going to get some payoff or some sort of incident, and it was like you said, they kind of were just like on thin ice with each other.
And I think it's probably squashed. I don't know. I was trying to get in my head that if Ricky Stenhouse was lap traffic and Carson Hocevar was heading towards his first win in the Cup Series, does Ricky send him? I don't think we're at that. I think as time goes by, this thing is going to get less and less more likely that there's any kind of clapback. Whereas 2 weeks ago, I think Quigs and I were speaking about it. I think it's going to happen this time. I think Ricky's going to fucking go after him at some point. It seems to be petering off just a little bit.
I'll play devil's advocate.
Go.
We're going to Atlanta this weekend, a track where, we were first made aware of Hocevar's lack of regard for his peers.
Mm-hmm.
Pissed off a lot of people in the process of that first race, as exciting as it was to watch him, the first Atlanta race of the season. If there's a track this is going to happen at, I feel like it might be this weekend. You got Stenhouse, you got Hocevar. Both those guys have proven that they're pretty good on plate style tracks. And I don't know, given the drive from Hocevar, our first visit here, I'm not completely stunned if something happens this week.
Except Ricky can't fuck up his chance because it seems like he's one of those guys who's paying attention on this bracket challenge. Chase Elliott's like, oh shit, is that this week? And I don't even know anymore if that's really Chase or if he's just trying to be too cool for stuff now. But
Yeah.
I think Ricky's involved. He shot that commercial with Blaney. I don't know if you guys saw the commercial. I thought it was fucking very well done.
It was good.
Cindric like played that one. Everyone had like their own personality in it. And I thought they did a very, very good job leading up to the bracket challenge, which starts this week. And we'll talk about that in a couple of seconds. Giving away some flowers. John Hunter, who I know is trying to get up to the Chicago office to do something with us, Spider. 4th top 10 in the last 8 races. Congratulations to him. And then all 3 RFKs drivers were in the top 10 again. Not all the Hendrick drivers were in the top 10. Not all the, Penske drivers. Not all the Gibbs drivers were in the top 10. But all 3 RFK drivers. And that's with Brad's fuck up going to into pit row when it was fucking closed, which was totally on Brad K. But congratulations to RFK in general. And the exact opposite for 2311, just however they set up their cars, brake rotors were blowing up all over the place. So much so that Tyler Reddick had come off the track at the same time that I had come off the track with my family. And he went back to the garage. He came around a blind turn, and I almost got hit by Tyler Reddick in the 45 trying to get back. That would have been fucking great for this podcast.
Just watching the coverage and you get hit by a car.
Lean into it, Large.
I should have. And the thing is, that dude who got hit by the tire, right? That one pit crew guy who got hit by the tire, he was a Trackhouse guy. They made him go to the infield care center. So as I was watching him come out, I almost get hit by Tyler Reddick. Man, I would have fucking relished that. That would have been fantastic. One other thing that I wanted to mention is that Brad K had mentioned, and then Austin Dillon had mentioned to me when I bumped into him over by the haulers. So many people were still sick from Mexico, including myself. Like I've still been kind of shitting shoestrings all weekend. And Austin Dillon's like, you didn't get any antibiotics yet? I thought it was one of those things that it would that devil would run through me. There'd be, because I've had multiple exorcisms both here in Mexico since I got this little bug. But so I just went on some antibiotics this week, feeling a little bit better. But apparently these drivers were feeling the effects of eating fucking pork jowl tacos and terrible mole in Mexico City. I will say, I mentioned terrible mole. If you guys go on that other show I do, you got to try this. I put a mole review for this place, Puyol, that Spider and I went to, and I shit on it because it was literally inedible. Holy cow. Apparently somebody who looks like me is not allowed to talk about Mexican food. on social media.
Were they upset with you?
They are extremely upset with me, and they are upset with me from a race standpoint.
Yep.
I am the whitest guy in the world apparently, and I haven't eaten anything but chicken fingers and casseroles. That's the big thing. This is a guy who hasn't had anything but McDonald's and casseroles his whole life and thinks that Sprite is spicy, which isn't me. I mean, I ain't him, Slim, so fucking shut up. But man, that's fucking crazy. And either way, my stomach
is mole? It's like a chocolatey sauce.
Yeah, so mole
right?
is a very deep, intense sauce. It does have chocolate in it most of the time. And this one place that Spider and I had gone to and spent an inordinate amount of money for Mexico City, and we had some very, very good dishes, maybe like 7 or 8 courses. And the last 2 courses were a terrible dessert, this chocolate tamal. And then before that, it was their mole madre, their mother mole, which they keep part of it in the pot and they build off that every day. And they've been doing it for 3,700 days. So it's a 10-year-old mole. And Quigs, normally mole just comes on like shredded chicken or with some, sort of any kind of protein. This they just put on a plate, like on a fucking plate and give it to you with a spoon. And it was fucking awful. It was inedible. Not by me, but also by Chef Donnie, Spider. Nobody fucking ate it. But, one table over from us, there was one guy who picked it up and was licking the plate. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, but fuck them. Anything else we want to talk about before we leave Pocono? No, right? I mean, it was pretty cut and dry. It was an okay race.
So.
Right?
No, yeah. Thought it was good. I'm looking forward to this in-season tournament.
And we'll make some picks on that shit too. Let's go to some headlines. Before we do that, NASCAR wants to remind you about the big upcoming street race in Chicago, a race experience unlike any other. Catch the stars of NASCAR take a one-of-a-kind street course surrounded by skyscrapers and lakefront views. 40 drivers, including Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin, battle it out on the most unique track of the season. The energy is electric. Race day adrenaline meets festival vibes in the heart of the city. Don't miss Zach Brown Band live from the start-finish line Saturday night as part of the Busch Light Summer Music Series. This is more than a race. It's Chicago's ultimate summer weekend. Get your tickets now before they're gone. NASCAR takes over Chicago, street racing, skyline views, music, and more. Get your tickets now at NASCAR.com for the ultimate summer weekend. Spider, while we're on this, the latest city that's been thrown into the hat alongside maybe coming back to Chicago, maybe going to Montreal. I know Philadelphia was bandied about, and so was Denver. Now San Diego is on the menu. How do we feel about fucking San Diego?
I'm pumped.
That would be fantastic. Right?
I think that would be insane large. I somehow never been to San Diego's. And I love that Barstool takes me so many places I would never, ever go to. I've been to West Virginia probably like 15 times for Rough and Rowdies, whereas I probably would never, ever go there. San Diego's a place I wanted to get to on vacation, on work, whatever the excuse is. And this sounds like a fucking, gift from God. I asked Ryan Blaney about this last week on our interview with him as the news was first breaking, literally like minutes before we got in the studio. So, I would welcome this with open arms. And I love that NASCAR is committed to kind of visiting some markets that are otherwise neglected.
Quigs, can we get you to San Diego for a race? And for people who don't know, Quigs traditionally is always busy, doing a lot of stuff. He wears many hats here at Barstool. He also doesn't travel a ton, right? I'm not saying anything you haven't said to me. Doesn't travel a ton for work because he's not a good forward-facing representative of the company, first of all, and he doesn't travel a bunch. Would we be able to get your ass out to San Diego for a fucking race?
I would go to San Diego.
Okay.
We can make that happen.
Mexico City, you're like, Philly didn't really. Yeah. Montreal even was like.
I had the same opinion as Hocevar about Mexico City.
You did at the very beginning. Yeah. But San Diego, Moon, would you go to San Diego?
Yeah, I would.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
I would. I wouldn't go
long,
long, but I would go. I probably wouldn't make it very long, but I would.
Yeah, I go out there quite a bit because that's where Canelo's training camp was. So I've spent some time in San Diego. Everything's perfect there. The weather is fantastic, and it's in this valley. Everything is just great. The food is wonderful. Uber fucking expensive, but it's a port of call that I would like to fucking get to. All right, so we are into whatever week of the season. We have 11 winners so far. We've had 6 new winners in NASCAR in the past 8 races. I'm now on the impression, I wasn't that way before, that we may get to 16, right? Like only Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick right now are pretty safe as far as points go. But I really do feel with the rest of the schedule and having so many different types of tracks that we're going to be seeing over the next couple of weeks, I think we might get to 16 winners this year. Do you guys feel like that, or am I way off the mark on this because there's so many people who have already won that maybe get their fourth win or second win of the season? I think we're in trouble with 16. Go ahead.
I thought before that we were going to get like only like 12 or 13, I think I said in previous weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of guys that I feel like are knocking on the door, or not even knocking on the door, or guys I would expect to have won that haven't, particularly Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick. And you look at the upcoming tracks between Chicago Street Race and Sonoma, those are two guys that are historically good on road tracks. And even if you count in the guys that, are road course ringers that haven't won, you got guys like Dinger, McDowell, obviously SVG's won, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those guys steal one. The only thing I feel comfortable saying is that I think Chase Elliott will make it regardless of if he wins or not. His stats this year have been very consistent, very incredible to me. And I know this podcast, I'm guilty of it myself. I typically value wins more than anything. And if you're not winning, you're nothing to me. So with that being said, I also have to tip my cap to Chase Elliott. His worst finish of the year was actually at Atlanta. So we'll see what he can do this week at Atlanta. But 20th position was the highest he's finished all year. So I've been very impressed with Chase Elliott, and I think he'll get in regardless.
And don't sleep on Tyler. I put this NASCAR Insights towards the end of the rundown I sent. Season averages post Pocono. In all 5 of their, sections, passing, defense, speed, restarts, and pit crew, that's what they're measuring here of all the active Cup drivers. In those 5 categories, passing, defense, speed, restarts, and pit crew, there's only 2 drivers in the top 10 in all of those categories. One of them is Denny Hamlin, and the other one is Tyler Reddick. So I think Tyler Reddick, even without the win, has been doing enough too, where I think he should get in. But if he doesn't win and we get 16 winners, I know Tyler and Chase are kind of considered those guys who I think are going to get wins. We're also, what about Chris Buescher? What about, Bubba on fucking, what about just about anybody who has him? Is Bowman not going to win a race? Is Kyle Busch not going to win a race? Is, I don't know, Brad Kay not going to win a race? And can we get a couple more fucking surprises in there? I mean, there's a chance that a lot of people are going to be butthurt by the end of this season because I think we got a bunch more winners left before we get to the playoffs. But the thing now that Prime is done, right? So Prime's coverage is done. I think this bracket is being put front and center in front of everybody. I'd sent the bracket around yesterday. Some of these first round matchups, and when you take into consideration where they're racing at Atlanta, at Sonoma, that type of stuff, it's making for a very, very interesting experience filling out your brackets. So I urge everyone to go to NASCAR.com. Fucking, it should be up there on the banner. Send in your bracket because the winning driver of this whole tournament gets $1 million. And I believe a perfect bracket is also winning $1 million. At least that's what I gleaned from that Ryan Blaney commercial.
That's
that they
what
put
I got
out
too.
Yeah, so it's a worthwhile thing to do other than wanting to follow through on what's traditionally considered like the dog days of summer. It gives this thing a little bit of juice. And I think the drivers are going to start to pay attention to it. There was no real reason for fucking Amazon to pay attention to it because they were just the setup for then TNT to put this as part of their storyline. So they really didn't give a fuck, to be honest with you. And the seeding thing is what's fucked up. They only went from the past 3 races as opposed to the point system that we have going all year long. So it didn't make much sense for Amazon to be pumping that. But now that the seeds are set, and some of them don't make any fucking sense, and the tournament is beginning, or this bracket challenge is beginning, I think it's going to be very good. I think this is just what the doctor ordered. Is there anything in this first round? I'm going to ask each person here. Are there any matchups in this first round that jump out at just one? Because we all got to get one in. Is there any matchups in this first round that jump out as you as compelling? And who are you taking in that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few. Let me see the one that I was intrigued by. Um, let's see.
I think Kyle Busch, Brad K is a hard one to pick.
Oh,
Is it
Uh,
at Atlanta?
I guess not so much at Atlanta, but I mean, it's all hard, but
Yeah.
that was one that I spent a lot of time on going back and forth.
Who'd you go
I
with?
have
Kyle.
Okay.
the one I'm looking at is Ryan Blaney versus Carson Hocevar. That's intriguing to me, and that's simply because, again, you look at the first race of the season here. Hocevar and Blaney were two of the fastest cars. They got in an incident together. I'll be personally watching to see that one unfold and see if Hocevar has similar equipment that he had in the first race. The other one that popped out to me was Kyle Larson versus Tyler Reddick, and I actually took Tyler Reddick in this one only because I feel as though he's better at this style of track. Larson, historically, not a good plate track driver. The comparison to Atlanta would be Daytona, Talladega. So, yeah, I'm on Reddick in that one, despite what we've seen thus far. The stats this season would show otherwise on
What
paper.
about you, Moon? Anything jump out at you?
Yeah, actually, I just lost it. The Keselowski and Bowman one really stuck out to me, but
Keselowski Busch.
or Bush, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Keselowski Bush really stuck out to me. But there's a lot of them down the list. The seating kind of seems weird to me because there's people who are, I don't know, like I know how they did it, but to me, going to Atlanta and like this style of racing, like looking at Bubba and Daniel Suarez, for example, like either one of them could run very, very good. They've both contended for wins here. So that was one that was tough for me. I went with Bubba. And then obviously the Kyle Busch and Keselowski one. I actually went with Keselowski in that one.
I like this Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, because everyone just wants to get those two guys to the next round to see what to the next race, which is the next round, to see what they can do. And it's sort of, I don't know, it's kind of jump ballish. Michael McDowell is an 11 seed versus Dinger, who's a 22 seed. So it's not a jump ball necessarily as far as that deceptive seeding, indicates. But it's one of those ones where you just got to pick a favorite. But selfishly, I'm almost wanting to pick a guy who I like going down the road. It's a much more interesting bracket challenge to fill out than I thought it was going to be. Like, even you can give anybody a chance here. And I don't know. I think I took McDowell on that.
I like Dinger large.
You like yeah. So I think there's an argument to be made for either. No,
I think
regardless, a lot of people will have somebody from that in their final four.
I was going to say either one of those guys.
Somebody's got to go through, and then you got two road courses, and both of them are probably the better matchup against whoever they are, and that'll land them in the final four.
Wait, yeah, I took Dinger too. I'm sorry, Spider. I apologize. I put my bracket right underneath there. I took fucking Allmendinger. That's how much of a
Dinger because out of all the active drivers at Atlanta, he is fourth in average finish with an 11th. All three of his races here since February of 2022, he has finished in the top 20, whereas McDowell has doubled the races here in that time, but he's only finished there about half of the time. So the stats are pointing toward Dinger. But I agree with Quigs. I think whoever you take in this round, you should strongly consider in the next round or even after that as we move on to tracks like Chicago and Sonoma.
Yeah, I think, and even some of the ones, John Hunter Nemechek and Josh Berry, that's a great fucking matchup. In Atlanta, I think that this is a lot more compelling than I thought. If you fill out this whole bracket, can I ask you guys right now who you have as the winner?
Yeah, I'm happy to start.
Go.
And I kind of tipped my hand before, but I like Chase Elliott. He's been Mr. Consistency this season, and I think that's what it's going to take. You don't necessarily have to win these races, but you just have to string together consistent results, and that's what he's done. Also, Chase Elliott at Atlanta is the second best average finishing position. I really like this stretch of tracks for him. He's proven that he's good on road courses as well, so Chicago and Sonoma are intriguing for me. And then I have him beating he kind of has, I guess, round 3 Sonoma. The pick would be Chase Elliott over Christopher Bell in my bracket. But then in round 4, I have him meeting up against Daniel Suarez. and at Dover. So I like Chase Elliott in that one. And I have Chase Elliott beating Chris Buescher for the championship in Indy. So I'm on Chase Elliott. I think, you can set your watch to him this year. And if there's one guy who I think is good at a wide array of tracks this year, particularly the way they've been running, it's going to be Chase Elliott.
I don't mind that. I think it's a good pick. Quigs, do you have a guy you think goes all the way, or are you still looking at it?
No, I got mine. I have Kyle Larson winning it all. Him going up against Denny in the finals, pretty chalky, but hey, chalk wins.
I actually
you say chalky,
that.
but I think he's a 10 seed, right? Isn't Larson like a 10 seed in this type of thing?
He's not a 10 seed.
I know. I just like saying it out loud. All right, so Larson, Chase Elliott. Who do you got? Moon.
So I've got Larson beating Elliott.
Oh, really?
Nice.
You guys are crazy, man. I think Larson's a first round out.
I mean,
he's got Tyler Reddick.
But
Tyler
Reddick had the season though. Like
Tyler Reddick in round one at a track that Larson is not super great, a style he's not great at. Where Reddick has won, he just won not just, but he won Talladega last year. I like Reddick in that one. Chalky. I think Chase Elliott is 12-1. So DraftKings is sponsoring and powering the in-season tournament. They've been offering odds all season on, if you go to championship, NASCAR Cup Series Championship, you'll see that it has championship odds for the Phoenix race in November, and then it also has the in-season challenge. And right now Larson is plus 550. I'm taking Chase Elliott, who's 12-1. And Large, I know you said, he was like, when does the in-season tournament start?
Right.
He's cool as a cucumber. He's cool. He's collected. All he's doing is just stringing together consistent finishes. I'm going to have to add that to my card. Chase Elliott 12-1 to win the in-season tournament.
All right.
Is he sandbagging then, Spider? Like you said, I didn't even know this thing was happening. Is that like a Chase Elliott thing where he doesn't want to answer questions with it? So he's like, it's easier to say, is that this week?
I think more so he's just downplaying it. He sees it as more of the same, like, just another trip to these tracks or stuff like that. But honestly, I think that's a good mindset to have. I want whatever he's doing, I want him to just keep doing it because he's been running well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also at DraftKings, normally when you go to the head-to-head matchups every week for the NASCAR races, they will give you head-to-head matchups still. Then they give you head-to-head matchups for the bracket challenge. So every one of these head-to-head matchups, you can also bet at DraftKings. And then my in-season challenge bracket, I have Joey Logano winning. And with that, let's go 3 wide with 3-time Cup Series champion Joey Logano. All right, everybody, as promised, with 3 wide with Joey Logano, a guy who's been very gracious with us since the beginning of the show. He's been in this office a couple of times. We've done some stuff with him in Chicago. He would never invite me to his home, but I don't fucking fault him for that. We just had Ryan Blaney on last week. We have Joey Logano on this week. My first question: what's up with Austin Cindric? Why is he fucking ducking us, Joey? I'm just kidding. He's not ducking us at all. How you been, brother? How's everything going?
Well, I'm doing good. I wasn't ready for that question.
No, I popped that one right out of there.
Things are going good. Yeah, having a good time. Plugging away through the season, just like we do at the typical regular season part of the year.
I know. We are filming this kind of off week, so I'm speaking with Joe the Friday before Pocono, just because he was up in the Northeast. I'll be heading up to Pocono with my family this weekend too. So when we do kind of fast forward to preview, we'll preview Echo Park in just a second. But I'm going to ask you about your season so far, your season to date. Playoff driver with the 1 win. But Joey, you are tough on yourself. And you also do not have a shortage of confidence. I remember the first time, and you might remember this, the first time I interviewed you, I started this stock question with drivers. Tell me what a Bubba Wallace track is, Bubba. Like, when should I bet on you? Or when should I kind of expect Bubba? Show me what's a Ryan Blaney track? When should I expect you to excel? Denny, Yeah, I asked you. You're like every week.
Every week.
Yeah. Count me in every week. That was it.
Well,
it's a fucking flex.
Why
I liked
not?
it.
If you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you?
As a professional athlete, you have to say that, right?
Well, you have to somehow believe it.
Yeah.
Saying it is one thing.
I believe that's a good point.
But if you don't believe you're the best on the racetrack by the time the race starts, well, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You know?
Why are you there?
Or like if your goal is like, oh, geez, this is one of my bad tracks. If I can just get through this weekend. Well, I don't know. Like, if your goal is 5th, the best you ever will do is 5th.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So why not set your goal at 1st? And if you finish 5th, it's probably not the end of the world. It's not that bad.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, we're used to in the sport losing, right? Like, you don't win that much.
Right.
So I've become pretty good at that part.
Is there? Yeah, I know. Is there an impossible track for you? Is there one that you, and not one where you go in, well, Large, this is a throwaway. It's why Denny pretended to have the kid. Because he knows he doesn't do well down in Mexico. But is there a Joey Logano one where you're like, Large?
You thought that happened too?
Yeah. When he celebrates that kid's birthday on Daytona week next year, then we know he was fucking full of shit. That kid's been around. Yeah. Kid's 22 pounds. Stop it, Denny. Fucking stop it.
I mean, I thought he was really smart. When that whole thing happened, I mean, this guy's got it figured out.
He's playing chess. But is there one where you say, hey, Large, it's not one that I give up on, but it's one that I know I've yet to conquer? What's that track for you?
There's some tracks more challenging than others, right? And probably one that stands out, especially because it's coming up. Like, so you kind of see the ones that are coming up the quickest. Yeah, Chicago is probably one that stands out. Mm-hmm. And am I that far off? Not to second place. I don't think I'm that far off.
Right.
But to Shane, we're not even freaking close. You know what I mean? So, like, that's like, so when I see that, I'm like, golly, like, I don't know. Like, I got to be honest with you. This is something I'm not proud of. But when I heard Shane was sick before the Mexico City race, I was like, yes, we got a chance. Because, like, we weren't that bad. Like, we were probably a top 5-ish car in practice. So like, but Shane, you just know he's just going to be faster. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, I got a chance today.
Right.
and then nope, never mind. He's good sick too.
I think, he's very good sick. Coming out of both holes, I think he said. Yeah. By the way, Shane, I had it coming out of my fucking ears. I think I counted 6 holes that I had a problem with down there. And that's why when he first came in, I forget which road course it was on. I was like, I just want somebody else other than Shane. And Berry inadvertently put him into the wall. And I was like, fucking Josh Berry, what a patriot. Because I have that whole narrative going too, where I think Shane Van Gisbergen's coming over here to steal our women. What do you give yourself as a grade so far through the season? And I'm talking about through the lens of what Joey Logano does to win championships. You don't necessarily have to rack up a shitload of wins. You know exactly how to use this system to do what I think is the most important thing in this biz. Right.
B minus.
Okay.
If I'm giving a grade, maybe a C+. And it depends on the week. We've just been hit or miss. There's weeks that it's A+, right? It's weeks that like, yeah, that was it. And then there's weeks that's like, geez, like, what the heck happened?
Right.
It seems just a little too up and down. And I'm going to throw a tough grade on it typically. But that's just, it's a long season. And I don't want to say it doesn't matter right now because it truly does. Right, like those playoff points that you can accumulate right now could be the difference of making to the next round and winning a championship or not. Right, like it comes down to 1 or 2 points.
You
all
can't
the time.
take weeks off. Yeah,
you can't. Mm-hmm. No, so you got
unless you have a baby and you're going to Mexico, then fuck.
Then maybe you missed one here and there, right? but for the most part, you have to bring every race because if you get one stage win, right, or finish one spot better in the regular season points, it's 1 or maybe 2 playoff points. What if that's the difference of getting into the championship 4? What's that worth now? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I go back to think about last year at Richmond, right? We had that race 1, we get wrecked, right? That's 5 points difference.
Right.
When we got knocked out at the Roval, we missed it by 4. Right?
That's exactly.
If it wasn't for the 48 car being underweight, we weren't going to get into the next round.
Oh, right. Yes.
That would have been the end of the season. So that win that would have happened at Richmond, that would have been the difference of us winning a championship or not. That close, right? So it just comes down to just the smallest amount. So you got to bring all you got all the time if you want to win the big prize at the end of the day.
So that butterfly effect type stuff you're talking about now, what happens in Richmond affects what happens in Phoenix type
Right.
thing. You can't be thinking about that on a race-to-race basis, right? You can't all of a sudden be like, God damn it, we missed a stage point. Like, you know what I mean? As much as you're just trying to, you have to just focus. Oh, really?
I do.
Yeah, really, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, because I've lived it too many times. Like, I've lived that story. I know, like, when you get down to that cutoff race and you're like, you can go back to that moment where you're like, gosh, I gave up that stage win in Atlanta or wherever it may have been, right? And you're just like, boy, it would have been nice to have that. It would have been nice to have a couple more. Because the value of that, it's your whole, it could be your whole season, but you're going all the way back 15, 20 races ago, right? And but that's what it is, and that's the playoff system that we have right now. It's like that, and that's good, right? Because everyone wants the regular season to matter. Well, guess what? It freaking does.
Yeah.
Like, it really, really does. So does that mean that if you come into the playoffs with no points, you can't win? No, it doesn't mean that either.
Mean that at all, yeah.
Right? You can go with a hell of a run and get all the way, right?
Yeah.
Example A right here.
There it is.
We can do that too, but I can guarantee you your life's a lot easier if you have a mulligan, right? And that's basically what those playoff points give you. Right? If you can start the playoffs with 30 points over the guy that's last in that round, well, you can basically have one bad race, and you're okay. When the guy in the back's got to do 3 perfect ones or win. Mm-hmm. I think everyone's important.
A head start is always good, right? Like, so anything that you can get. But the fact that you're thinking about this all the time and that you're so, I don't know, in tuned with what you need to achieve championships, that's why I've been on this glaze session with you. I've been talking about Joey Logano is the best Cup Series driver alive right now. Because
nice.
in my Don't you give me shit for this too, Joey. When my thing is, the most important thing is championships.
Yeah.
That to me, I think, is the most important thing. And whatever it is, you win championships. In the new car, in the new playoff system, or whatever, you figured it out. So even though people are like, how can you say he's the best driver? I didn't. I said he's the best Cup Series driver alive right now. I don't think anyone could argue that, because I don't give a fuck, excuse my language, about how people do in an Indy car. I don't. That whole double thing is lost on me. I don't care about it. I don't care how you do in dirt. I don't care about where you do. I'm a Cup Series guy. And sometimes how you do in Xfinity is totally cool in trucks. So that's why you're the best Cup Series driver now. I'm glazing you to your fucking face. Is there an argument? Or you when I said that, you're like, oh, Jesus. Am I way off base here?
I mean, I appreciate the compliment.
Course, yeah.
It means a lot. It's great.
That's not a paid thing. He didn't throw me a couple of hundo on the way in.
But
I
did like it.
Yeah.
How do I say this? I believe I'm a very well-rounded race car driver, meaning that I understand the depth of everything that's going on. Right? There's no surprises to me. But do I feel like I'm the best in every category? No. Right? Am I the fastest driver? No. But I'm top 5. Right? Like, I feel like I'm top 5 in a lot of different areas. And when you put them all together, like whether it's speedway racing, short tracks, whatever that may be, I can kind of do that part good. Can I work with my team really well? Yes. Do I understand the car really well? Yes. Like, can I make up some of the differences that I'm off a little bit on? With some other things being great, yes. Can I perform under pressure better than anyone in the field? 100%.
Is that the number one?
That's my strength.
That's the number one
thing? That's my number one strength, is that you can't shake me. Right? Like, and that is like the biggest. That's why the playoffs work so good for us. Mm-hmm. Right? Is that I love that part of it. I love being backed up against the wall and seeing what I can do. Right? Like, I love that, right?
Is
like,
there
even
a
like
small bit of psychopath involved with that?
A little bit.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
because I was getting that.
I kind of like that part of it, right?
So
like,
do I. I don't mind it.
Because those moments is what produces the greatest feeling of success, right? Like, is it hard? Yeah, right. Like when you go into the championship 4, that last round, is it miserable? Yeah. Like, do you feel like what the opportunities are for? Absolutely. But I never hide from it. I never run from it. I accept it. And I know that Sunday of that weekend is either going to be absolutely awesome or it's going to hurt so freaking bad. I know that. I don't just say that race is just another race like most people do when they go into it because it helps them sleep better at night. That's not who I am. Like, I want everyone to know this is the biggest race of the year because that trophy was a little bigger, but that trophy is on the line.
I put it in the dryer.
So you put it in the dryer. Yeah. It's funny. But yeah, I think that's the pressure. I love it. I like having that on it because, and I say it all the time, pressure is a privilege, right? You got to earn it, right? You got to earn the right to have pressure on you. And if you don't love that, then you're just better off sitting on the couch because it's not made for you. And that's okay. If you're one of those people, that's fine, but I'm not. I want to have the opportunity to do something ridiculously big.
Now I feel bad because I'm on the couch every fucking week. Just
well, it's not.
it. Yeah,
well, you're not because you're building this, right? You're
Correct.
building this podcast. You're doing something. This is challenging as well.
It certainly
right.
is.
I'm talking about just watching TV and not bettering yourself in one way or another, or building something.
Yeah. When you talk about watching TV, I know it wasn't a direct shot across my bow. I was surprised with how good you were. And I got to stop fucking glazing you. This is like the Joey Logano fan club.
You'll come up with something here in a second. Don't worry.
I don't respect him as a person, just as a driver. But no, when you started doing some color on the lesser series, you're good at it. And people enjoyed you. Even people who are traditionally maybe not Joey Logano fans were like, fuck, I really like that. And then you see what Amazon just did with their coverage. That was 100% approval rate as far as the only thing I have against it was, Carl Edwards and fucking Corey, their pants are too tight. We don't need that shit, guys. You can barely breathe.
Listen them up.
Yeah. So when you
less squats.
Yeah. So when you walk away now and you're watching these guys do it and you see that you're doing it not almost as a hobby or something, is that something that I'm going to see Joey Logano doing for a long time?
Probably.
Okay.
Possibly. I enjoy it.
Do you dig it?
I dig it, and it's really easy for me. And so that's fine while I'm racing, right? To do something easy on top. So I got something plenty hard to do, driving the car.
So there's less pressure, right?
Yeah,
right.
So I jump up in the booth. I don't have to prep a whole bunch. I know the drivers. I just came off the racetrack, so I know exactly everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. And I just talk about what I see. Like as I'm a race fan at heart, right? That's who I am to start. Like all of us were race fans before we were racers.
Better be, yeah.
And so I get to put my race fan hat on. I go up there in the booth. I know so much about the sport because I'm actively doing it, and I can jump right in and talk about it. So I enjoy that part of it. And it's something to do on Saturdays. I can't sit still either. I'm back to the psychopath part.
That's what I mean.
I'm not sitting still, so I gotta go and do something.
Two sides of the spectrum. They were like, there's people like you, and then there's Martin. Like Martin Truex was my favorite driver. I love Martin Truex, I should say. But when he was going, he was one of my favorite drivers. And I remember when Denny had mentioned that Truex was jumping in his seat for the baby leave, somebody had asked me, Martin's jumping in Denny's seat? I was like, fuck no. He's
Not a
nowhere
chance.
near that. He's fishing somewhere.
Right.
Shit no. And I love the fact that Ryan did get to jump into that spot. So there are people who don't have the desire or don't have the skill set to do it. There's some drivers who are as successful as you, have a microphone put in their face, and they're not good at it. You know what I mean? Because it's not a skill set that comes along with being a good driver, right?
Yeah, I think it's a personality thing, right? Like to your point, right?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't make you a better driver on Sunday that you can talk on a microphone, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't change anything. Maybe it helps attract more sponsorship and those type of things, right? If you can be, more personable and those type of things. But I only do it because I enjoy it, right? Like I'm not getting rich by talking about race cars on TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I do it because I enjoy it. It helps my brand because I feel like I have this disconnect a lot of times on who people think I am versus who I really am, and I think it helps bridge that gap some.
That's true too,
so
because
I
people
like that
only
part.
see you. Some people say when these drivers sometimes go a little bit crazy. I'm like, well, what about when somebody cuts you off on the highway?
Yeah,
Imagine there was a camera on me looking right away to see what the Irish guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I am. It's embarrassing when I do it. You guys have it being broadcast to 2.1 million fans at any one time when you lose your shit. I lost my shit twice on the way to work. Nobody knows about it. You lose your shit. It's tweeted about for 3 days.
And then you're that guy.
Yeah.
And the other piece too is you're talking about losing your shit driving down the highway.
Yeah.
When it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
Right?
fucking matter.
Well, we talked about what I got on the line already, right?
Yeah.
You got the championship trophy along with the impact of that too, right?
Yeah.
Like not just the trophy, the financial impact for everybody on the team, the sponsors, everybody. It's all that weight on the driver a lot of times to perform.
Yeah.
And when something doesn't go right, or you better be angry. You better get pissed off because you care, because it matters, right? I go back to, and I screwed this whole thing up really good, and I realized it afterwards. But like, what do? We went to race the All-Star race, right? We're racing for $1 million. Fastest car on the racetrack. We're winning the race.
Yeah.
Things are looking good, right? Caution comes out. We know the caution's going to come out.
Yeah.
Split decision. Very split decision.
Yeah.
And then, you're playing defense against tires behind you with Bell. I ran him all over the racetrack. He eventually moves me out of the way.
Yeah.
Goes on and wins $1 million. I'm pissed, right? Shouldn't I be? I just lost $1 million,
Yeah.
right? And then you literally get out of the car. You're so angry because it's like, gosh, we led the most laps. This thing was dominant. We were going to win Wilkesboro 2 years in a row. God, it felt great. And then you finish second. It feels like you just got kicked in the nads.
Yeah.
It really does. And so
I feel
and then
so bad
they
that
put
Joey
a
didn't win
microphone in
another
your
$1
face.
million. Fuck you.
Well,
Joey.
it's just because you want more, right? You're not content.
Right.
And so they stick a microphone in your face and you're just mad. So words come out like that he basically wrecked me to win the race, right?
Yeah.
And then I went back and I watched it and I was like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And then I watched it more and I was like, I did run him all over the place. Wouldn't I probably would have done that, right? But it takes a second to like calm down and look at it from like a little bit more of a global view. And then you're like, I probably could have handled that a little better.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next weekend in Charlotte and you get booed out of your mind, right? And you're like,
Yes.
oh, these people don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Plus, you need to
I
see-
screwed it
You
up.
need to see the tape. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
almost every other, boxers, when they come off the apron, they'll have, can you tell us what you did here? Oh, okay, so when I slipped the lap,
Right.
You guys don't have that benefit. I also see that when you come out of the infield care center. Like, they got Bowman the other day. Bowman was still goofy. Like, his eyes weren't
yeah.
right after he took that hit. I don't think that's very fair either.
No.
These guys are pulling G's, whatever the fuck you want to say when you're hitting those safer barriers. It
Yeah.
rocks your goddamn world.
Yeah. And I'm an emotional person. Like, that's fine. And I think that's okay. Right?
Okay.
Like, I ride the waves. I know people say you got to stay flat all the time. Don't go too high, don't go too low. Screw that.
Yeah.
Live a little. That's what I say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm going to get, when we win, am I going to be super excited? Hell yeah. And when I'm pissed, like when we lose, I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to show both of it because that's who I am. And I don't want people to wonder, like, what's Joey thinking? Right?
Yeah.
Like, no, you're going to know exactly what I'm thinking all the time.
What
Might not be the right thing,
I
but,
know,
I'm
exactly.
thinking.
Yeah. And even if it is the right thing, a lot of people think you're dead wrong. What age were you when you got into Cup?
I was 18, my first race.
What year? How old are you right now?
35.
At what point do you turn to Joseph? When
I
does
know,
it
right?
become Joseph Logano? Is it after you retire and go into the booth? Maybe you start smoking a pipe, wearing more tweed? When do you
Right?
become Joseph
There's a good-
Logano? I don't know if it fits just yet.
So Corey LaJoy and I had this conversation quite a few years ago, and I said, at what point, it wasn't Joseph, it was just, when do I become Joe?
Joe,
Right?
yeah.
When do you drop the Y?
Yeah.
And
Joe
that was-
Logano.
Right.
No.
You don't like that? I kind of liked Joe.
Do you?
And then so we thought, in next gen car coming in, next gen Joe made
Next
sense.
Gen Joe.
Corey actually came over to my race car and put a piece of duct tape over my name, put Joe.
there you go.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
funny at the
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
I really thought that was, might have been the moment. It's kind of, I've gone so far. I got too much brand equity in Joey at this point, right? Like, how do you change your name mid-career?
When you came in, I think it would have been stupid to call you Joseph or Joe. You were
As a
Joey.
kid.
You were a young kid, right? I
Right.
mean, I don't have to tell you. And it's still fine. I still have buddies who are older than me, and I'm as old as shit, that I call Joey affectionately. Just wondering with the rebrand.
You wonder.
Yeah.
Right? But like Jimmy Johnson never went to Jim Johnson.
Yeah, that sounds
Right?
weird too. James Johnson.
Well, when's he gonna drop the IE, right?
I didn't
Like,
think
I
about
don't know.
that either.
It's
Yeah.
it's a real tough question. But I think at this point, I'm going to have to ride the Y for a while.
And when you drop it, it'll be when you become chairman, president, overlord of NASCAR. When that happens to you, I've been asking people this question a lot. You've won championships in the Gen 7 car. I'm going to ask you what you would change. Right now, I'm going to ask you what you would change. Because, again, you're a guy who knows what's under the hood, as well as being able to wheel this thing around at breakneck speeds. What would the Commissioner Joseph Logano change about the car, first of all? Is there something?
Well, it's really easy to sit here and say, do this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. But every action has a reaction, right? And it's easy for us to say, put 1,000 horsepower in it. Sure. And then the drivetrain's going to break, and you're going to snap all this other stuff. And then you're going to have all these issues that go along with it, right? Or the price is going to go up a lot and race teams aren't going to be able to survive anymore, or or they're going to have to pay the drivers less. We don't want to do that, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that go along with that. So maybe it's so easy to say, oh, take the rear diffuser off the car, make the cars put them back on the ground. I'd like to try that, right? If there's one thing I'd like to try, I really think that, and I don't know this, right, without trying it. Mm-hmm. And you can go to the wind tunnel as much as you want. I don't care. Put it on the racetrack with multiple cars and tell me if this works. But I'd like to see if we took the rear diffuser off this thing and put the front of the car back on the earth like it used to be, mm-hmm. right? Like the Xfinity cars, all those things. I think it fixes multiple issues. I think, one, it makes you want to raise the back of the car back up. Mm-hmm. So when you have flat tires, we're not sitting there on the blocks, right. Just not going anywhere, right, mm-hmm. on a sled. I think it fixes that part. I think it would help with the dirty air issue. Right. Okay. And I think because we used to be able to loosen up the lead car by getting close to the trailing car, catching the lead car. You used to be able to take air off the rear spoiler, and it would get that car loose, and then you can turn up underneath them. Mm-hmm. And the Xfinity Series has that still. The Truck Series has that. What do they have? Splitters on the earth, on the ground, hitting the track. Back of the car up. Now we are back of the car down, front up, trying to feed the diffuser. So if we take all that off, does that bring us back to what we used to be? I don't know that. I don't know.
But as commissioner, you want to try and see.
I want to try that.
Well, you want to try it out. What, as commissioner, would you like? And again, you're doing that. You're saying that in a Gen 7 car where you've won championships. I'm going to ask you about the playoff system where you've won championships. Is there anything that Commissioner Joseph Logano wants to tweak with that?
One thing, and it's controversial and because of last weekend. But
yeah. Oh, the point.
How far down in points you are to be. I think you need to be in the top 20.
Okay.
Ish.
And that's got some wiggle room. Make it a top 24 to appease some people.
Sure.
That type of thing, right?
Sure.
Okay.
I think, yeah. I don't think one win's enough. Right? And maybe you can get a little outside the box and say, okay, if you get 2 wins and you're still outside the top 30, then maybe you're in the playoffs for that reason.
Right.
But I don't know if just one win is enough to take a spot from a team that's like right on the edge there, right? A team that can run in the top 13, 14 in points. Mm-hmm. I don't know if should a car that's 30th in points be in. I don't know. And I don't like saying this because I don't want to take something away from Shane.
I'm asking
because Shane,
and that's fine.
he's a hell of a race car driver,
yes.
right? We talked about it here earlier. He waxed our butts multiple times on road courses now, so he's really freaking good at those.
16 and a half seconds.
It really hurt. But I just look at it from the global view and take a step back. Do I feel like that's right? I don't think so.
Right.
In my opinion.
Okay, so we are dropping the front, right? No, excuse me. Yeah, we're dropping the front.
We're putting front on the earth. Diffuser off.
We're putting in something where sort of a point system where even if you have the win, you have to be somewhere around the top 20.
Okay.
What about the length of the schedule? I've spoke to drivers who are okay, and I've spoke to drivers who are fellow champions. And one of the things they tell me, especially when we first started doing the show, Large, wait till you see how long this season is. Wait till you see how long this season is. And then I tell you, with the Mexico race and outside of the Montezuma's Revenge I had a positive experience across the board, except that race was way too long. So I'm going to ask you, Commissioner Joseph Logano, length of season and length of some of the races. Would you tweak that if you had the keys to this city with this shit?
Not a whole bunch. Not a whole bunch.
You don't need more bye weeks?
No, because here's the deal. When did you start doing this? When did you get introduced into
5
NASCAR?
years ago?
5 years ago.
Yeah.
That was COVID,
Yeah.
right?
Right after COVID, yeah.
So there's like the pre-COVID people that
Yes.
have been in the sport, right? Because you've been in the sport for a long time. 5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
But you never saw the Thursday through Sunday situation.
No.
Where, like, which was this weekend in Mexico,
Yeah.
right? You're there for a long time. And you're like, I can't wait to get home because
Yeah.
you're just gone for a long time. That was every single weekend. That was all the time. And by the way, we used to not have testing rules either. So you used to, and I'm showing my age a little bit here,
Right.
but you used to go test during the week, show back, on Tuesday, Wednesday, go to the racetrack on Thursday, be on the track Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, debrief Monday, test again Tuesday, go to, right? And you would do
For
that
38 weeks?
38 times. So ever since COVID, the schedule to me, I'm like, this is cake, right? I'm like, this is awesome. I show up Friday night. I'm on track Saturday. I'm not even on the track for that long. I get bored most of the time on Saturday afternoons. And then I'm racing Sunday. I'm home Sunday night. I'm like, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I can do that forever. Like I'm not missing a bunch of stuff, especially when you throw kids into the equation, which
How old are
changes a lot.
yours?
I got 3, 7, 5, and 3. And if the schedule was like it used to be, I believe my career would be shorter.
Right.
I would, because I would get to the point to where I'm missing out on my kid's life, and I'd say, is this all worth it?
Mhm.
And I probably, and it's not only the drivers that make this decision, it'd be all the crew members as well. That, they're traveling just as much. They're going with you, right? So then they would be asking themselves, is this really what I want to do? Am I missing my kid's life for what? And because they're only that age for one time,
I know
you
that.
know
I
it,
have
right?
3, yeah.
And so you've lived it. But but now, like, yeah, am I missing out on some things? Absolutely, right? But the trade-off is always a trade-off, and the trade-off's much better now than it used to be. So when I look at the schedule, I was like, yeah, it's great. I wouldn't change much. If I'm going to be greedy, I really enjoy the 2 weeks off in the summer.
That
I really
Olympic
like
thing.
that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Right? Like can Commissioner Joe throw that in? Fuck it,
Commissioner
let's-
Joe would like that. Just because your kids are off from school. So you have like good
Yeah.
quality time. 2 weeks off is nice because if it's just one weekend, you're working till Tuesday.
Right.
You got to come back the next Tuesday. You have 7 days, which is nice.
Yes.
But if you have 2 weeks, you can like really go somewhere.
Yeah. You can
and-
go to all the recitals, the baseball game, and then also get them to Disney
still
or
go to vacation
Hershey
somewhere.
Park. Screw this.
something
I'm staying
like
up
that.
here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that part. I would like that. It was nice to have Easter off this year.
Yeah.
I think we have to do that.
I think
just
that's a cool
the
thing
right
too.
thing to do.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I wouldn't change much. I think it's pretty close. Only because I've lived the other side before, right? And it's so
Yes.
easy for us to complain now. But you got to look at what it was, and you're like, yeah, this is pretty easy now.
I tend to see that too. When people, NASCAR fans on social media are the worst fans that I've encountered in any sport as far as complaining about anything. They'll complain about anything. And a lot of them do yearn for the good old days. But I think a lot of people forget that the good old days weren't perfect either.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
we're in the good old days.
Yeah. Although I will say, with this recent, opportunity to see some of these documentaries, particularly the Earnhardt documentary. I watched the American Thunder documentary a couple of weeks ago about Le Mans, and I was fascinated with that. But it was a little bit more recent, so I didn't. I watched the Earnhardt documentary, and I was like, man, I wasn't a fan back then. I wish I was, because there was like a different coolness to it. And maybe it's just, I don't know, me reminiscing because I used to have a big mustache and shit like that. Has that culture changed that much for you as a guy who's been in the seat for as long as you have?
Yeah,
Will it ever be
I've
that
seen
cool
the sport.
again?
I've seen the sport change a lot. But what you have to remember is the racing, and this is going to get some controversy.
Sure. I'll clip it if it's going
But
to.
I'm gonna say
Manoli,
it
head on a
anyways.
swivel. He's going to say something
Now
controversial.
I'm going to say it
Fuck
anyways.
this guy.
The racing's better today than it's ever been.
Uh-huh.
Period, hands down. I don't care what you say after that. Because
This season? Or do you mean...
it's in general. I think the
Okay.
racing in all the way across their series and stuff like that. It's just it's close, right? Like cars used to win by well, this Mexico's Mexico. Right?
Yeah, I know, let's take out Mexico.
But that was the norm, winning by 16 seconds, 10 seconds, 6 seconds. That was normal, right? And now we've added things, whether it's the car, whether it's the stage racing, whether it's the playoffs. We have added moments, big magical moments to our races in authentic ways, by the way, in my opinion. Other people argue it's not authentic. I believe it is because everyone knows the rules when the race starts. But I think we've added ways to make NASCAR racing the most exciting motorsports in the world. Hands down, I'd put that up against anything. Good luck.
Yeah.
I just think that there's never any, if it does get boring, the stage is going to end. And it's all going to flip around. You're going to see a restart. Things are going to happen, right? Like how many times in a NASCAR race you think you know what's going to happen and
it doesn't.
Caution comes out.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
how the tides have changed, right? Like everything is changing.
Right. Like the All-Star race.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Like and my wife even said it. She goes, I know you hated it, and I do too, but it was pretty entertaining because of that.
Right.
If it wasn't for that caution, I walked a dog, it's over. Right?
Yeah.
Is that exciting? Probably not. Mm-hmm. So I guess you gotta look at it sometimes from a different viewpoint. But the racing back then, although the cool factor was there, right? I mean, you look at the race cars back then; it's just cool, right? There's just so many cool
and
parts
that's
of
what
it.
I'm saying too. Like people tend to wax nostalgic the most about the paint schemes.
Yeah,
and that's what
cool
brings
there.
them into a different head.
Yeah.
I think those were so much fucking cooler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know with the numbers, we need to move them back onto the door. Little things like Commissioner Joseph will do that. You'll move the numbers back.
Yeah,
on the
it's
door,
little
you know what I mean?
stuff. I don't know if that's even a big deal, but I'd
For
say
me.
the product of the racing is awesome. We want to go back to something really cool. I just got to do this, so I'll tell a quick story. So coming up here, the IROC stuff that Everham's doing, all that. Well, anyways, Rogers was owned IROC.
Yeah.
Right. So he has a few of those old cars, the old Camaros, and they're getting a few of them going again. They wanted to test them. Roger Jr. is going to drive one over there, out in wherever the heck they're going. I'm not sure where the track is, but anyways, we took them down to Kershaw, South Carolina, and there's a '79 Camaro. Mario Andretti raced it, and they're like, "Hey, can you just shake this thing down for us?" I'm like, "Yes, yes,
cool
I
shit.
want to drive this car." They're building it in our race shop at Team Penske. They're putting it all back together. It's original as original gets, right outside of the seat because Mario and I are a very different size.
Yes.
But I'm driving this car around, and you kind of first go out there and you're like, "Okay, I don't want to wreck this thing." But then the racer and you're like, "No, it's Hammer City. Like it's time to go."
Right.
And I'm ripping this thing for all I got. And it's just like you're sitting in the car. It's cool. It's like on the dash. It's old, right? So you got a heel toe to shift. You got to do all this stuff. But on the dash, it says Andretti on it. And
That's
like,
cool
man,
shit,
that's
man.
so freaking cool.
That does.
Oh, man. I just thought it was like just geeking out inside the car. And it's how awesome it was.
And I guess it's
just
like that
neat.
with every sport, right? Like if I look at the NBA Finals now and then I kind of wax nostalgic about,
Right.
Jordan crying with a cigar or something with the cup. It's just something that's a natural thing. It's always used to be cooler. I
Yeah.
don't think people appreciate the present as much as they probably should.
But don't you think they look back at this and say, man, that was the time that they watched that sport, they thought it was awesome.
When
right?
I'm doing
Like,
this
you're gonna do the
in
same thing.
2045 and your son's in the seat and he's in the Cup Series. But
You're
it's
going to be
all
talking about
electric-
today being the
it's-
good old days.
Yeah, it's all electric vehicles then, like by that time. And we talk about the time where his dad was, wheeling it around. Like,
Right.
Are the kids interested? Do you have kids? Is that something you would even consider?
I don't consider it. I want them to consider it.
Right.
Right? Like,
Because
it's
Kyle
different.
is well, Harvick too. But to see those two guys who are your contemporaries and that you've known for a very long time and what they're doing with their kids, it seems like the kids have the passion and
They
the
do.
dads have the passion to also push them into it.
Right.
So you're saying the kids part is a little more important to you.
I'm waiting for my kids to really, if you want to do it, you're going to want to really want to do it. And right now, neither one of my sons really, my oldest loves cars. Like we share the love of cars together. Like he loves classic cars. He loves driving things. Like,
by the way, I got to see
we
your
love
garage
that.
the other day. Whatever you just did with this
Oh, it's
other
awesome.
news, that's fucking awesome.
That's my happy place.
That
man.
is it's fucking cool.
I like driving
It's like
stuff.
Ferris Bueller type shit. You
That's
know what I mean?
cool.
You got the
Nice.
separate thing. Can I get an invite somewhere along the
You
line?
can come by.
Good. All
Yeah,
right, thank you.
anytime.
I just asked for an
Anytime. Next
invite.
time you're in Charlotte,
But
come
go
on
ahead,
by.
please, go ahead.
But anyways, he loves to ride. He drives my old Honda 300EX that I drove when I was a kid. And he rips this thing. He can keep up with me. Like, he's freaking fast on this quad. But then I bring up racing. He's kind of like, eh. And I think what it is that it's different for him than it was for me. When I was a kid, I was Tom Logano's son who had a garbage company, local garbage company nearby, and we raced for fun. When Hudson Logano or Jameson or Amelia, when they want to go race, they show up to the racetrack as NASCAR champion Joey Logano's kid.
Yeah.
And they're held to this expectation. And I don't care what you say, the kids know that. They know that.
They
And
try to
so-
downplay it like
Yeah, but
Dave
that's real
Blaney,
pressure.
you know,
and
Bill
that's not
Elliott.
fair yet
No.
for them. He's 7 years old. That's not fair.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know how to handle that. He's no better than any other kid there that's been racing for a while. So the couple of times we did go race, I said, okay, it's at one of the outlaw carts at Millbridge. I said, we're showing up in the back of the pickup truck. We're putting duct tape numbers on this thing. We don't need all the fancy stuff. I got a tool bag with, enough to change a tire and adjust a chain. What else are we going to need? It's a freaking go-kart, right? And you see all these people with all this stuff there, and I'm like,
oh,
what are you doing? Like, and that is how I remember racing that way. It's just like, you just show up with what you got.
Yeah.
It's a kid's race. He's 7 years old. It doesn't freaking matter, right? Like, he's just out there to learn lessons, learn how to win, learn how to lose, learn how to work on your
Be a
stuff,
sportsman.
learn how to hold the damn thing wide open. When you can do that, then we'll start to work on your car. Right? Once you hold it wide open all the way around, now we'll start to tune it in. But until then, I'm not touching that thing.
Does he?
It doesn't matter.
At their age, the kids, when they do show some interest in, just driving a little bit, do they also want to turn a wrench? Or are the kids now who are coming in, who you see, some of the younger guys who come from the sim seats and shit like
Yeah.
that, who probably haven't been under a hood for the most part.
Right.
Do you see that being important? That if
Yes.
you were to say your son was to keep going with this, you'd make sure that he has a wrench in his hand as well.
I would.
Okay.
I would. Because I think it helps, and this is the old school in me, but I think it helps in multiple directions. One, it helps him understand the car, which I think is very important as you move up to the different ranks, to understand how the car works. That's going to make you a better race car driver. But two, it's going to make you make better decisions on the racetrack, right? There's so many times, a lot of times now, the younger kids that come in, they don't. When I raced coming up, it was my dad's car, right? Like he owned everything, and we worked on it together, and we'd go racing. And when we wrecked, we had to bring it home.
Yeah.
We'd have to fix the car, and we have to get it ready in time to go to the racetrack the next time, right? If we didn't get it done in time, we don't go racing that weekend. And now in every level, and I can't believe it, whether it's even in quarter midgets, it's like this now, where there's teams, right? And go-kart racing is like this. There's a team, you work on it, and you just pay the team to take care of the car. So you show up with your helmet bag, and you get in the car, and you go race, and then you go home. No matter what happens.
You wreck it, you just give somebody else the keys.
Oh, well,
See you
and
next
they'll
week.
be there next week. That's not healthy for a kid.
No.
In my opinion, that's not the way it should be done.
Right.
I think learning, like going there to a racetrack and not having the fastest car is okay, right? And learning how to make that car faster is even better for you,
Yeah, it's good.
right? And
Yeah.
so, because even if you don't make it as a driver, which most likely you won't,
Right.
Sorry to say it, but it's true. You'll have some other qualities that you can use, kind of, through things. So that's how I plan on doing it, if that moment ever happens. But right now, dude, my son, he is ate up with the NBA. That is
Oh,
his
is
thing,
he?
man.
Okay.
He loves basketball. We're here in New York City right now, and all he wanted to do is go to that NBA store.
Oh, really? Okay.
And we went there. He thought it was the coolest thing. He's got his Luka jersey, his Curry jersey, and he's like, the coolest thing he's ever seen. I'm
that's
like,
great.
all
Yeah.
right. So, and he loves to play basketball. That's his thing right now. So, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm just like, hey, sports are so important for kids. I just want him playing a sport. And if he finds a passion in something different than me, that's fine. But we do enjoy screwing around at the house, riding quads and things together and racing that way.
You're an elite professional athlete. Are you good at anything else? other than this? Have you thrown out a first pitch and you're like, oh Jesus, he was raised in a house of just old women? Like, you know what I mean? Is it one of those
that's
things?
what it looks like.
Because there's some guys. Do you have a bad? I don't know. Do you have a bad first pitch?
Recently, yes.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's not good.
I tried to help Tyler Reddick before he did at the Cubs game, and I was like, "Ooh, you might be too far gone." Then there are other guys who are a little bit more well-rounded. I played golf with Blaney.
Yeah, Blaney's very athletic.
Yeah, he's very athletic.
Yeah.
Is Joey Logano very good behind a wheel, terrible in a batter's box?
Yes.
Simple answer.
And that's I'm good at driving a car. Obviously.
Yeah.
I'm good at ping pong and foosball. Those are like the things I can hang in those things.
Really?
And I can run pretty good. Like I'm faster than people think.
Can you cook?
No. I mean, I can kind of cook. I mean, cook kids.
That's a no.
But
yeah,
no.
you
I mean,
led with
grill
the no.
out.
You grill burgers and make waffles, but yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's it. But I mean, I'm competitive. Like I will try. I'll try way over my ability level because I want to be good. And I'll look goofy as can be. But I don't really care. But yeah, my claim to fame with this whole thing is everybody. I feel like all my competitors know this about me, that I kind of like a little lanky, awkward, kind of moving. And I know that. I watch videos. I'm smart enough to realize that doesn't look like it's all flowing and driving the way it should.
Yeah.
But a few years back, the Coca-Cola racing family, they do this shoot, and we're all at the drag strip in Charlotte. We get some downtime. And, you put 5-6 racers together. What are you going to do? Race.
Yeah. I was about to say drink, but go ahead.
But yeah. Race. This is midday.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, let's race down the end of the drag strip. Right? And
that's it.
Who got it done?
Yeah.
He got it.
That's all you need to do.
I said it's like an ostrich, okay? It's kind of goofy. It's a little all over the place, but that freaking thing's fast. That's what I get these long legs going. It's game time.
It's working out for you because when we did get a peek at your garage, here's I don't know, a newsflash. He doesn't live in a 1-bedroom ranch, right? So it's been a pretty good life for this. But I've seen Brad on a basketball court.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope I never see Brad on a basketball court again.
I'm not much better.
Oh, really? Okay, so I got you.
I'm in that range. I'm better than that.
Yeah.
It's pretty ugly though. It's pretty ugly.
We were in Mexico and we had jumped around just as the celebration started for Shane, Christopher, and Chase with the champagne, doing the whole deal. And then Shane takes that Australian rules football, whatever, kicks it into the crowd without a care. He broke an old woman's neck with the ball once. Nobody talks about that, and I made that up.
Oh.
But I'm just trying to do that for my anti-Shane thing. So with Shane with the ball, that's very, very cool. The piñata thing is very, very cool. The watermelon thing probably is the coolest. Do you ever feel the need, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a gimmicky thing about your background, what those guys do, but, Carl used to have a feat of strength, jumping off the back.
Yeah.
Does Joey Logano need to add something to his repertoire when you win your next race?
I mean, to me,
it's cool as shit.
This
All
stuff
the
is
stuff
cool.
they're doing.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. I always just came out with the steering wheel. Like when
Oh,
I came out,
okay.
I kind of feel like that's old school, and I used
Right,
to see
yes.
that, and I take the steering wheel with me. I think that's kind of cool, and I've tried to make that just a little bit unique. But really, the big thing to me is just to burn those rear tires off that
You
sucker.
like to burn them down.
Oh hell yeah, that's
Right.
my deal, man. I love doing it. I literally at home, like you saw my garage, my whole driveway is just
Marbles.
marked up, all of it. Like I don't know about my neighbors think about me, but like.
Yeah.
I've built a racetrack around my shop, and it kind of goes around my house. And I got my drift truck, and I just drive stuff out there.
Right.
And I burn the rears off of everything all the time. And so I feel like when you win, it's really about the burnout more than anything.
Right.
And any good burnout has to go till failure. Right.
Yes.
Like you can't just stop. You have to go till something breaks for it to be a good burnout.
Right.
And
you
and
notice
whether
how we
it's
were
setting it
just
on
talking
fire,
about how his kid has to respect the turning the wrench and what he does. Joey burns him down and throws the fucking keys, and
There
it
you
goes and hits the champagne bottle. Just a hypocritical prick over
it's
here.
not true,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I mean, I do
No,
that.
I
Well,
know, I'm just saying.
race
Yeah.
cars
Yeah.
at this level, maybe
Celebration.
a little different ways, but I just usually burn the rears off them.
Yeah.
The only thing that breaks on them these days is just the rear tires that pop,
tanks.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's usually it. But no, I do that with my own cars too.
Right, yeah. So you're actually
Yeah.
not a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Every time people see guys burning them down, the first thing in the mind that comes by, they don't want to take that into inspection.
Yeah,
They want to
I know,
fuck that thing
right?
up so beyond recognition into inspection.
I think that was more the old days.
Yeah.
I don't think there's as much going on in those areas now than it used to be.
Second half of the season, which we're in the middle of, it has a lot of less than traditional tracks coming up. Chicago Road Course obviously is one of them, but even Iowa with the paved turns and all that stuff. So one of the things that we do, we make some bets at the end of each episode because we have a gambling partner. Whenever it's something that has any degree of questionability to it, you have to put a couple of dollars on Joey Logano. If the whole field is going to be confused on how to run in, in LA at the Clash,
right.
Joey will figure it out first. So you got to throw a couple things into that. So how do you feel going into the second half of the season, knowing that you're going to be in all these different racetracks? We think that you're very good at it, so I figure it wouldn't bother you. But is it a pain in the ass to try and tailor your game from Sonoma to this, to that, and just not be on a regular fucking oval?
Yeah, it's hard.
It is, right?
It's hard,
It's
right?
a pain in the ass.
Yeah. You talk about how much things have changed since I got here. It used to be 2 road courses. It was Sonoma and Watkins Glen, and the rest were like you're going to Richmond a couple times. Atlanta was normal Atlanta, like another mile and a half, like it's normal ovals, like you said.
Yeah.
It ain't like that anymore. You got 6 road courses. You got you bringing it up, right? Or whether it's Bowman Gray or the Coliseum in LA. We raced on dirt for a few times. Now we're going to street courses.
Yeah.
Like we're doing it all. And on one hand, like I love circle track racing. Like that's my bread and butter. That's what I love. That's why I chose NASCAR. But on the other hand, I like what we're doing right now because it doesn't get stale.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether you're a competitor, driver, or any way, shape, or form, you get something different every week. But also as a race fan, if you don't like road course racing, that's fine. We'll go to Pocono next week. If you don't like that, we'll go to Atlanta. That's completely different than all of
But
them.
would
Right?
Commissioner Joseph take a
fine.
couple of road courses off?
I don't think so.
No?
No. Like I said, I don't think I would. And I think the fact that we're getting outside of our comfort zone, there's growth there. We got to stay true to our roots.
Right.
That's important. We can't get too far away from what NASCAR was built off of and what our core fan loves about NASCAR. Like we've got to still be who we are. Right? Like be the NASCAR that everyone knows and loves and the reason why people love it. But have the opportunity to go do some different things.
Yeah.
Right? And whether that's going, like we talked about, the Coliseum, going to Mexico City, right? I mean, as challenging as it was very outside of our comfort zone. I'd call it a success.
I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't.
I'm glad we did it.
Because I lost 7 pounds, but I could use it too. So I guess it was a success, Joey. Listen,
There's the positive attitude.
your people are starting to give me the hook, so I have to get Joey out of here. Before I do, can you just tell us what we can expect when we head down to Echo Park? When we head down, can you give us just an idea of that? Do my job and just preview that a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, that racetrack has been one of the most exciting racetracks that we've had here recently.
Yeah.
The draft obviously comes into play big time, but handling is really coming into play lately as the track's starting to give a little bit of wear here and there. Bumps are starting to be more and more pronounced, and then it's going to be a little warmer than what it was there in March.
True.
Obviously, quite a bit warmer.
Yeah.
Even though it's at night, it's still going to be warmer. So, it's the ultimate compromise racetrack when you look at how you want to set up your car. Because when you go to Daytona Talladega, it's all about taking drag out. Right? How do we make a car go fast? And then you go to Atlanta, and you're like, okay, I don't want drag in the car because I'm wide open around this whole place. But when I get in a big pack, I need some downforce. I need my car to be able to handle well. And you can't get downforce without taking more drag on.
Yeah.
So it's really a challenging place to be on what am I willing to give up to try to gain some handling, and what are teams willing to do? Right? It's a question I could talk about here because it's a question the whole field's asking themselves. Right. What is the right moves here? And I don't think anybody really knows until you start the race, right? And they're like, oh shoot, I should have gone this direction more.
Right. And it's a learning process as soon as the race starts.
Yeah, it's tough, but it puts on a heck of a race, right? I mean,
Funny shit. I'd gone there for the first time earlier this year. I think it's a great I think it's a great race to see live too. It's one of those places they really do a nice job with.
Well, it's small.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like it's 1.5 miles. It's not 2.5 miles long, so it's right there in front of you. When you're in the grandstands, like they're never that far away.
Yeah.
So you get some good visuals.
This is my final question then. When we go to Atlanta, does Joey Logano have a chance to win there? Always has a fucking chance. Joey, I appreciate your time as always.
Thanks,
3-time Cup Series champion Joey Logano, driver the number 22 for Penske. Always a pleasure to have you here, and I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next time, Rubbin Racing. All right, so that's Joey Logano. Jesus Christ, he swallowed a fucking radio. That could be one of the longest interviews that we ever did. I really appreciate Joey coming in and talking about everything under the sun. It seemed like this guy didn't have any kind of filter. That's what you want from an interview from a guy like Joey. He's welcome back any goddamn time. The only problem is that we had him on Friday before the race, so I bet a aggressive bet on him in Pocono, thinking that if he won and fucked up that interview, at least I'd make a couple of dollars off it, but he did not. But thank you again, Joey, for coming in.
Joe,
yeah,
I love it. Yeah, I just want to say last week I kind of crushed Joey for saying, I haven't seen him doing any of this driver incentive stuff. I want to walk that back. I seen that he was on First Take, and he also threw out the first pitch of a Yankees game, which he is not even a baseball fan. So credit where credit's due. He's been out, kind of getting his name out there. You're getting his points. He joined us. So, yeah, honestly, I guess my take from all this is that I'm stunned that Larson was in the top 3 when I last saw the leaderboard, because Logano, Blaney, I feel like the Penske guys have been doing well in that regard. But nothing from Larson. So Larson, maybe watch this week. He's going to be on he's going to be at the White House. He's going to be shaking hands, kissing babies. Who knows? But for now, yeah, I mean, appreciate Joey Logano coming on. Always good to have him.
He did mention, I had mentioned in the interview, he had some guy down to his house to look at some of his cars. What a setup he's got. Joey Logano is extremely wealthy, by the way. But that garage that he has with all these roadsters and stuff. So he invited us. He said, next time you guys are in and around Charlotte, we can come by, and he'd take us for a spin and some of those things. And again, extremely gracious from a guy who doesn't have to do it.
Great hair too.
Oh, great hair. Absolutely. You can get it too if you have the money. Let's preview this week. Xfinity, the Focus Health 250 in Atlanta is Friday night. Pay attention. Xfinity is Friday night, 7:30 p.m. on the CW. Right now, there appears to be no Cup drivers in the field pulling double duty, and the only non-eligible championship point driver in the field will be our very own Catherine Legg. She'll be wheeling the 32 car for Jordan Anderson. Good luck, Catherine. Trucks are not in Georgia this weekend, but they are racing. The Leona 150 is from Lime Rock, Connecticut, Spider's Backyard, and that's on Saturday starting at 1 p.m. on Fox. So Xfinity on Friday night, Trucks on Saturday afternoon, and then the Cup. Round 1 of the midseason bracket challenge kicks off with one of 2 races currently held at the Atlanta Track every season. It's the Quaker State 400. It's race number 18 in the regular season, 260 laps for 400 miles at Echo Park Speedway, the 1.54-mile oval in Hampton, Georgia, covering starting Saturday night at 7 p.m. on TNT. And as far as other drivers in the field, 57-year-old David Starr is in the 66 for Garage 66. David Starr is older than me. He was the Truck Series most popular driver back in, I think, 2002. Connor Zilich is going to be in the 87 for Trackhouse. And BJ McLeod is in the 78 for Live Fast with that Pigeon Forge racing coaster scheme on it, where we were invited to go down to Pigeon Forge for the opening of that fucking roller coaster.
Mountain coaster, yeah.
Man, I wish we could have went to that.
We're gonna have to get there at some point, Large. Yeah. That place looks awesome.
Yeah, I put the color, the paint scheme in for it too. It's pretty dope. I like it. It's got like the mountain in the background with the actual coaster shit running through it. So good luck to BJ this weekend. Outside of that, another paint scheme to keep your eye on is Reddick. Reddick has the coolest shit all the time. He's partnering with Upper Deck. He's going to be running a Superman scheme in Atlanta. I guess to promote the new movie, maybe Upper Deck does some cards for that. I
don't like this paint scheme
because it's light blue.
It just doesn't it's boring. I think they could have done way better with it.
Really?
Yeah, I want it to be in my face. If I look at it like this, who likes superheroes? Little kids. If a little kid was watching this race, I don't think that's the first car they pick out. I don't know what is, but I'm saying it needs more pop. It needs to be in your face.
The big S on the hood is not enough. Yeah, I guess I could see that because he's done other schemes that I think kids would go fucking bananas for, you know? So maybe they didn't do enough, but he'll be driving the Superman car. Did you guys see the scheme? Do you hate it also?
I'm
I
looking at
like
it now.
Yeah,
I
you like
think under the lights it's gonna look cool because the renders don't always do it justice.
That is true. It could end up looking a lot different in the race.
Yeah. The past 3 winners of this race have been Logano, Byron, and Elliott, respectively. And this race is only won by a Toyota once, with Kyle Busch racing for Joe Gibbs in the Snickers paint scheme in 2008. And I popped that one in there too because that was a great fucking paint scheme. The Snickers with the flames on it. So with that, let's pick some winners this weekend. This is called Picking the Tires. It's brought to you by DraftKings. Nothing says summer like long days, clutch plays, and firing off a few bets on the game, all with DraftKings Sportsbook. As the season heats up, so do the bets, and DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with live betting, home run props, odds boosts, and more. Whether you're chasing dingers or jumping in mid-game, there's always action to be had. Never bet on baseball before? It's easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Rubbin, that's code Rubbin, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Who wants to take us out this weekend? I have a couple of ones. I don't think we're going to have much in by way of dupes with my picks.
I'm happy to go first.
Go ahead, my man.
So I'm going to start Xfinity race. I feel like there's 2 drivers that should be considered, either Austin Hill or Jesse Love. RCR dominant at this kind of track. I'm going with Jesse Love 4-1. Austin Hill plus 2,200, or I'm sorry, plus 220 is not enough for me. Yeah. As much as I think there's a very, very, very good chance he ends up winning. But I'm going to take a little bit of a flyer on Jesse Love, who's 4-1. I don't know if that even counts as a flyer, but yeah, I like the RCR cars in the Xfinity race. On the Cup level, I'm looking at Cindric. I thought Cindric was going to win this race last year, or earlier this year rather, and unfortunately, it didn't go his way. So I'm going to run it back with Cindric, who's 9-1 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. And then for driver props, as much as I said I didn't love the Superman car, I'm going to take Tyler Reddick over Kyle Larson. Tyler Reddick is plus 120 to finish better than Larson. I was kind of unencouraged by those Toyota stats that you just presented, Large. But those are my 3 picks for the weekend. I got Jesse Love 4-1 in Xfinity, Austin Cindric 9-1. I'm also looking, there's some pretty good value here. I think like Chase Elliott 14-1 is pretty juicy. And yeah, there's some other names further on down this list that I'm kind of intrigued by, but I'm going to stick with Austin Cindric 9-1, Jesse Love 4-1, Tyler Reddick plus 120 over Kyle Larson to advance in the second round of the in-season tournament.
Yeah, and that goes along with your bracket, so it's perfect. And again, so these head-to-head matchups in DraftKings, they have ones that are bracket only, so you'll get every matchup for the bracket. You can bet on those individually, fill out a whole bracket, the whole goddamn deal. Who's up next?
I'll go. I have two winners. I'm going with Chase. I think plus 1,400 is great value for him in Atlanta. And then
track.
I'm also going with a little bit of a longer shot. I'm going Bubba plus 2,800. Kind of more gut feeling. And then I really like this one. I'm taking Suarez, who's up there with for numbers wise at this track for best average finishes. I'm taking him top 3 plus 700.
Oh, I kind of like that.
The rare top 3. Usually we're doing top 5 or top 10.
I wonder what his top 5 is. If he's 700 for
probably 400 plus 350 for top 5. But
okay,
we'll go top 3 for that, and that's it.
Love it.
Moon.
I like Eric Jones. I'm cup only. Eric Jones, top 10, and then I really like Stenhouse for a top 5. He obviously good at this style of racing. Maybe not as great at Atlanta as some of the others, but they really need good runs right now. And then race winners, looking down the list, Chase Elliott has done well at Atlanta before. I like the odds. I like the vibe of everything. He seems to be pretty chill right now with the whole bracket deal and everything going on. So I like Chase Elliott to win. And then going down a little bit, Michael McDowell always in contention at the drafting tracks, I feel like. And I think he's kind of going to be my crazy one that I'm going to throw some on to win. So those are my picks, more than usual, but
I love it. I did throw a couple on Chase as race winner just because of the home track, as Spider had said. But otherwise, I have Tyler Reddick as top Toyota. That's plus 450. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, plus 450 for top Toyota and Reddick. I have John Hunter Nemechek with a top 10 paying plus 250. I don't know. I think those are good odds. And then very rarely do you get Kyle Larson for a top 5 with plus money, but he's plus 180. So I'll take Kyle Larson with a top 5, John Hunter top 10, Tyler Reddick top Toyota, and you don't have to put Chase on because everyone else is on him too. That would be a great story. Be a great story for the bar to like ring out a Chase Elliott win in Atlanta. That's it for us. Anybody got anything to plug before we get the fuck out of here?
That's all. Stay tuned to the Twitter. I'll have a pick 6 lineup this week from Atlanta. So hopefully we can keep cashing those. But yeah, check out the pick 6 app by DraftKings. That's all I got.
Spider, the Sea Lions are back for this race. Spider and I were lucky enough to take pictures with fucking seals or sea lions. While we were at Atlanta earlier this season, and it winds up they're going to be back on the Midway. So go say hello to the boys for us, and we'll talk to you guys next week on Rubbin Racing.
Peace.